Hey, welcome to the development cost section because this is the most important section in for this feasibility because this is where we anticipate all the costs that are going to become part of this project. So the first thing that you do over here is press save and refresh. But before that, I just wanted to recap. We were in other revenue, and in other revenue we press save and next. That brought us to our development cost. Now the moment you get here, the reason I want you to do a save and refresh is because it automatically, as you can see over here, we've got at this stage we don't really have any start date or any end dates, but we have already allocated those dates over here. We have already said when our settlement's going to happen, when the loan's going to get paid out. All those things have already been put over there. So if we come over here and we go save and refresh, it will automatically pick up the land value that we are paying and also the dates that are important to us for the settlement period. As you can see, it automatically got these details over here. And the only reason you see a 66,000 here is because I actually put it in there. So this can be zero. You can basically do do your own calculation for stamp duty and put it in there. The reason, and another reason, is that stamp duty over here is in black, and the reason it is in black is because if you want to change this name, I just want to highlight this fact because this portion here is adding to the cost of your land, because this is your land acquisition cost that can be claimed as part of the land acquisition cost, or that can be claimed as part of the cost of the land. So if you wanted to call that something else, all you have to do is go into your master data in your stamp duty, and once you are in your stamp duty, if you wanted to call that property tax or something like that. Let's say you want to change that and call it property tax, for example. You can come back here, and as you can see, it's gone red. What it is telling me is that cost code, which is 7006 stamp duty, does not exist anymore. So if I just type 7006, because we did not change that name, we can change that to property tax if we wanted to. And then whatever calculations that you have done, you can add that over here. So I'll quickly go back and change that to stamp duty, as that's what it was, and we'll leave that as stamp duty for the time being for this example. So let's say here again it's gone red, it's telling me that it does not exist, so I'll just go 7006 and I'll select my stamp duty. Now the reason it is black is to highlight this fact that you have to be careful of this. If you're changing that, you need to come and change these things over here. Also, if you're from Australia, and in Australia we have GST, and GST is applicable on commercial property purchase, or some of the properties which are categorized under commercial will attract a GST on them. So to tackle that, to whether or not something has GST in them or doesn't have GST in them, what you need to do is make sure that whatever value that you are putting in, you select the appropriate cost code to go with it. So if you come here, you'll see that we have a land site value deposits, whatever that amount is, because that all adds up to that one land value. And this is including GST, because in this column we say no, there is no GST in it. Sorry, this one is no GST, and this one is including GST. So if you have a product or you're buying a property that includes GST, you need to make sure that you select the right cost code over there. But this is black, because this value is black because it automatically picks up these values from your project setup. So whatever value that you're putting in over here, make sure that value is including GST. If it includes it, or if it doesn't include it, doesn't matter, whatever value it is. But you need to make sure that the cost code that you select over there for land and site value, everything is controlled via these cost codes. So you can have them allocate them to GST or VAT, or whether or not they include them or you don't include them. If you select yes, the calculation will assume that it includes that tax in it. If you select no, that calculation will assume that there is no tax in it. It's as simple as that. So That is why these values come up here, and that is why all of these values you cannot change here. You can't override them, you can't do anything, because they automatically get picked up from this section over here. So if you ever wanted to change them, you'll have to come back here, change this, and then go save next all the way to development cost code, because it will affect all these calculations. So all these calculations have to be updated to get to that point. So if you just change that and came here and changed this, only this sheet got updated. The other two will not get updated. So you make sure that you always go, if you change anything, or if you already, progressed to development costs or finance costs, and then you go back to the project setup to change something, or whichever point you go and change something, from that point on, going all the way back to the finance sheet or development cost sheet, you must use save and next, so that every sheet gets updated. It gets the values that have been updated, and it moves from with the current data. So this is a little bit very similar to if I was to design this thing in a full-blown software with a database and this and that and all those things, it'll work exactly the same way. So so these are the two things that you have to remember in this land acquisition section. I mean, all the other things that we have here, which is land value, legal acquisition, you can change their names, add something else. So you've got from that point to this point to enter your land value. But the first one, which is basically B6, let's say, has to be your land or site value, because it automatically picks up this section from there. So we've left that in blue so that you can change them, but make sure that the cost code is the correct cost code. The other one with that includes GST is 707015, for example. And if you selected that, then it will calculate the GST over here. I'll have to save and refresh this thing, and I'll show you that it will calculate the GST based on this number. It'll assume that it already has that. Has a GST component built under that. So here your GST amount is right here. So let's just go back to 7003 in this section, which is no GST, and we can update that. So when you are conducting something like this, you don't always have to keep pressing the save and refresh, but it doesn't harm. Now, the save and refresh is a little bit slower on the sheet. The reason is that it has a lot of components here. So if I collapse everything, you'll see that every time you press that, it is updating all the sheets that are happening here. So we can see that there's an error over here, and that is why there's an error up there. And we'll sort that out, and I'll show you why that error is there. So that you are mindful and careful of these things. Now, stamp duty has to be added. So over where I am, it's about 5.5% on top of the land value. So it's about 66,000. I can enter that value over there, and I also all the start date, end date, and the forecasting method for something like this is always the straight line and the flat method. So we can use that. Now, if you use a deposit, like for example, a cash down or something that you gave to the seller or the vendor to hold the property for you, you can say like, I've already paid $60,000 deposit. Whoops. I've already paid $60,000 deposit. So what this will do is just tell you that what your balance would be remaining at the time of settlement. So if I go save and refresh again, it will do its calculation and post out the stamp duty and all the details over there. There's another column here which is contingency. Now, there is no provision for you to add contingency to the land acquisition cost, because you signed a contract for 1.2 million. It's not that there's going to be a cost blowout and suddenly the land value will be 1.4 million. So that is the reason we don't have a contingency option over here. So if I zoom out and show you where we are at, we are looking at land acquisition here, And under land acquisition, we are making sure that everything gets forecasted here. So this is saying we in project setup, let's zoom back in, we said that we would be settling on that loan on 1st of June, and that is what got selected over here, that on 1st of June, that's the money that was required as part of your cash flow. Now, where that money came from, we will look at in the finance section, but it allocates that's the amount of cash flow that we need in order to settle in June. So that's what this is all about. And we will look into the other section, which is other acquisition costs and all the other costs. And this is, all of these sections are very similar to each other, very easy to use. All you have to do is keep going through the cost codes, keep allocating a value, and that's all you need to worry about. If there is no GST for you, or you don't even want to see it, minimize it and it will stop bothering you. Let's check out our other land acquisition costs in the next video.